If you're a social impact executive director or CEO, you already know this pain. You're in a board meeting, or you're on a donor call, or you're trying to align a team that's doing incredible work, but everyone's moving in slightly different directions, and you start explaining something that really matters. You mean to be clear, and you mean to be inspiring. You mean to show that you've thought it through really thoroughly, but then it happens. You talk and talk and talk, and halfway through your own sentence, you can just feel it. You're losing them, and not because your mission isn't important, and not because you're not smart, not because you don't care, but because the moment that you ramble, people subconsciously decide one of three things. You're not sure, you're not aligned, or three, you're asking them to do too much thinking. And here's the brutal truth. In the social impact world, clarity is currency. Clarity gets funding. Clarity gets buy-in. Clarity gets your team to move without you repeating yourself 12 different ways. Let me walk you through this while I give you a tool that you can use immediately, not next month, not after a big retreat, not after your next leadership program. At the end of this, I will give you a potential next step to help you improve rapidly. The tool that I'll show you is called the 3-2-1 trick. I learned it from investor and journalist Cody Sanchez and adapted it for social impact changemakers from my own experience working with hundreds of executive directors and surveying thousands. And if you use it, you will sound sharper, more decisive, and more like the kind of executive director people trust with big money and big responsibility. Before we even touch the tactic, here's the mindset shift. People don't just listen to your words, they read your state. When you walk into a room and you're scattered, trying to prove yourself, trying to be liked, trying to cover every angle, people feel that. And when you walk into a room grounded, clear, calm, direct, people feel that too, right? And for EDs, this matters more than most roles because you're constantly leading across complexity, multiple stakeholders, competing priorities, emotionally loaded issues, constrained resources, urgent timelines, and high public visibility. So when you speak, you're not just transferring information, you're transferring a signal. Is this under control? Is this person credible? Can I trust their judgment? Is this plan real? Executive presence is not a personality trait. It's a leadership skill that you can learn through behavior. And one of the fastest ways to create that presence is to stop filling the air with extra words. Which brings us to the tool. The 3-2-1 method. Here it is, customized for executive directors working in social impact. Now write this down, it's brief. 3 seconds, 2 points, 1 question. That's it, 3-2-1. Now let me make it practical. Step 1, pause for 3 seconds. Most rambling is panic with vocabulary. It's your brain trying to outrun uncertainty. So the first move is not talk better. The first move is just pause. 3 seconds. Not one, not kinda, not a little breath you disguise as confidence, a real pause. Because the pause does 3 things instantly. It slows you down. It signals confidence to them. It creates a little space where everyone's attention snaps back to you. Think about the leaders you respect. They don't rush. They let their words land. So here's your new rule. When the moment matters, you don't speed up. You slow down. Pause. 1, 2, 3. Step 2 is give only 2 points. This is the part that will change your life if you actually follow it. You're only allowed 2 points, not 5. Not a quick list, and also, just 2. Because the more points that you stack, the more people start sorting and forgetting. And then your message becomes a lot instead of clear. So your 2 points should be the decision and the why, or it can be the problem and the next step, or it can be the priority and the trade-off. 2 points creates a feeling of control. Step 3 is to end with one question. This is how you stop monologuing and start leading. One question encourages engagement. It turns your communication into a handoff, not a data dump. And the question you choose matters. Executive director questions should do one of these things: create alignment, clarify ownership, surface risk, or confirm commitment. And here are some examples. How does this decision feel to you? What would stop us from executing this? Who owns the next step? What do you need from me to make this easy to implement? Now let's bring this to life in some real ED moments. I want you to picture 3 scenarios that you live in all the time. Scenario A is board meeting pressure. A board member challenges you. Maybe it's the budget. Maybe it's impact measurement. Maybe it's why a program didn't measure up to a goal. The old version of you, you over-explain, you justify what happened, you try to cover every angle so nobody can criticize you. The new version of you, however, uses 3, 2, 1. Pause 3 seconds, then 2 points. Here's what's true. We missed the goal because we underestimated implementation time. We already adjusted the plan so the new timeline protects outcomes. Then one question. Is the board aligned with this revised timeline such that it's the most responsible path forward? Look what happened there. You didn't defend your identity. You didn't spin. You didn't flood the room. You just stated reality. You showed active listening and facilitation, and you asked for alignment. That's executive director energy. Scenario B is a donor conversation where you really want the yes. But donors don't fund complexity, they fund clarity. The old version of you might be like, you tell the whole story, the whole history, the whole ecosystem, every stakeholder, all the nuances. The new version of you uses 3, 2, 1. First you pause. Then you cover 2 points. The 2 things that matter most are this program is producing measurable outcomes in a community that's been overlooked and marginalized historically. 2, additional funding directly expands reach. More participants served with life-changing impact in the next quarter. Of course, you would use your own points. Then you ask one question. Would you like to fund the expansion now, or would you prefer to see the outcomes report first? That question is powerful because it assumes forward motion while still giving them an on-ramp. Now let's think of scenario C, team tension and decision fatigue. Imagine your team is overwhelmed, Slack is on fire, everyone has opinions, meetings get long, no one's clear. The old version of you is you try to be fair by letting everything be discussed fully and the conversation becomes a swamp. The new version, however, uses 3, 2, 1. You pause. Then 2 points. Here's what we're doing. 1, this week our priority is delivery, not perfecting, because done is better than perfect. 2, we're refocusing on the actual scope to protect the timeline and hours needed. Then ask one question. What's the single highest risk that could derail us in the next 5 days? You see how that's leadership? You're not asking, what does everyone think? You're asking, where is the risk so we can get it done? Let me add one more layer that makes 3, 2, 1 even stronger for you. Your brain and their brain does better with chunks. So instead of speaking in one long stream, speak in short sprints. Try this rhythm. Statement that is short, a pause that's tiny, a second statement that's short, a pause that's tiny, and a question. Here's what this does. It makes your points feel inevitable. It gives people time to process. And it stops you from stacking words upon words. So if you're someone who talks fast, I admit I do, because you're brilliant and you've been thinking about this for months, this is your reminder. They have not been thinking about it for months, most likely. So chunk it, land it, then ask. Now here are 2 micro language shifts that instantly make you sound and be more decisive. Replace I think with I've observed or I've found. I think sounds like a suggestion, whereas I've observed sounds like leadership, and I've found shares your valuable lived experience. So instead of I think we should focus on retention, Try, I've observed that retention is our highest leverage this quarter. You're not being arrogant, you're being clear, and you're helping to create greater impact with the resources at hand. Swap number 2 is stop ending with, let me know what you think. That line invites drift. Instead, end with some next steps, like here are the next steps, or here's what we're doing next, or here's what I would recommend. You can still be collaborative without sounding uncertain. Leadership language is not louder. I would say it's cleaner. Here's the part that matters. This isn't about sounding polished. This is about making better decisions faster and communicating them in a way that really earns trust. In social impact leadership, your communication shapes a variety of things: how quickly your team moves, how safe people feel in uncertainty, which we have a lot of these days, how confident funders are, and how aligned your board stays when things get hard. So here's your homework if you'd like it. Today, use the 3-2-1 trick one time, just once. Pick a moment that matters: board, donor, leadership meeting, even a challenging one-to-one conversation. Pause 3 seconds. Share 2 points only. End with one question and notice what happens in the room and the conversation. If you want help applying this powerfully to your real conversations and growth goals, your board dynamics, your donor narrative, your team decision making, your fundraising, then here's what to do next. Get your 3-2-1 Clarity Trick PDF guide in the description below this video. If you'd like, you can also schedule a 30-minute or 45-minute clarity plus power of decision coaching session to gain clarity on your vision and decisive aligned action steps. I'll help you simplify what you're trying to say, sharpen your decision framing, and co-create a mini action plan with you that helps you match the impact leader and organizational steward that you actually are. I've worked with hundreds of executive directors, CEOs, founders, and board members through coaching sessions, workshops, boot camps, and custom cohorts. I would be excited to help you as well. Check the description below for some helpful resources on this. If this has helped you, gently tap the subscribe button so you can get more practical and inspiring strategies and conversations to grow your impact. Talk soon.